This is a little different. I want to talk about fear and courage. Fear is the thing that can keep you from doing something. The fear of not just failing. And most people say the first thing you know is fear of failing. It's not the fear of failing for me. I can't speak for everyone else, but it ain't the fear of failing for me. It's the fear of getting to the top and failing. It's not just straight off just failing for me. It's getting up there and then failing. And then it's also the fear of the change, the dynamic change that will come with rising. Because change is going to come with rising. Tackling your fear and overcoming that fear, the dynamics will change of your life. There's many things that happens when you decided to overcome your fear of doing something to better yourself. And courage. Courage, I believe, takes a role in it. And because a lot of people talk about, what they want to do, what they want to achieve. A lot of people talk about desires that they have, what they would like to accomplish in this borrowed time that we have. And a lot of people don't put actions behind it. And it comes because of fear. Fear is the thing that stop a lot of people from doing this to doing that. And fear, if you let it, fear will stop you from achieving any dream that you have. But it only is when you at the bottom and you have no choice to do certain things where fear is no longer an obstacle. I have had numerous of losses throughout my lifetime. 37 years old of age, and I done seen more losses than I count. I done seen some wins too. Now, whether them wins was bigger than them losses, that's a different subject. But nonetheless, I done seen some losses. And I done seen when you let fear take over you from achieving things that could potentially better you. And let's be honest, when you're doing anything trying to hire yourself in life, it comes with a lot of doubt because you don't know. It's gonna come with a lot of mistakes because you don't know. And everything has a learning process. It's a number of ways you go about acquiring things. You get the information, the knowledge of how, where, what resources you may need, etc. And you can still have all of that knowledge, but this is where the courage comes in. Courage come in where no matter what knowledge you do or don't have, you go on it. Whether you fail at it or you don't, that's just all part of the scheme of getting something and taking a challenge and a risk. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But conquering and having courage to conquer your fear, despite what you may think or may not happen, is the difference. Can be the difference anyway. For instance, when I started this Talk Your Shit podcast, it wasn't something that I thought about overnight. Honestly, it wasn't. It was something I thought about doing. I seen it. I had an opportunity way back in my younger days to be on radio. Way, I think for school or some shit, and I couldn't even tell you what radio station it was. I know it was a Baltimore radio station because that's where I'm from. But I couldn't even tell you which radio station it was. I couldn't tell you who was the speakers. I couldn't tell you none of that information. I just recall being on the radio. Nonetheless, uh, I've been like, I didn't probably see it then and or whatnot, but I've been blessed to see and have so many experiences on life that often I found myself, people come to me for advice about all kind of things. People I didn't even know, whether at work or friends who knew me, just in general. I always had people come to me for advice for some reason, without nobody knowing me, and it had been offered just simple as engagements. But I often found myself giving advice to people who was either younger than me, my age, shit, even older than me. To be honest with you, I'm talking about older than me. I'm 37, so imagine giving advice to someone that's 50. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Male and female, like, you know what I'm saying? But just to be experienced enough in life to know what, to see certain things play out up or down, and find yourself being able to make it through whatever that was, and come across another individual who has or is potentially in the same or almost the same scenario that you have overcome. And with me, fear is not really too much an option for me. I have little fear because it's not an option for me. There, when you look around and you going through some shit in life and you realize you are your only backup, there is no other significant backup other than your higher power. We're talking about other than anyone to fall back on other than God. There can only be little fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know who you got to fall back on other than God, just you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you only can rely on yourself and God to see you through. You know what I'm saying? That's so with that being said, it is really no fear, and I guess that's why I haven't been no fear, because I unconsciously, not knowing that God has protected me, especially in my younger years, my 20s, my early 20s, late 20s, going into my 30s, the things that I was dealing with, wasn't fully aware of how protected I was in those situations and why I was able. A lot of times, we like to think that we are the sole ones who get us through situations. We're not. If you overcome a situation, you didn't do it by yourself. You may think you did it by yourself, but you was never alone. You may not have a physical person with you in whatever that process is, but you have one. Yourself, and you had spiritual, which would be whoever you pray to, whoever your higher power is. I don't discuss those type of things because whoever you believe is your higher power, that's your higher power. That ain't up to me. I have nothing to do with that. I don't even put my opinion in those kind of matters, because to me those matters are sacred. You know what I'm saying? So whoever your higher power is, that's who aid you through that situation, whatever situation you was faced and you overcome. that's who did that. That's who made sure that you got through that situation okay, and what have you. That's who made sure that everything went how it how it went best for you. And a lot of times we get caught up in thinking that things supposed to go a certain way for us, and that's never the case. When you got a higher power involved looking over you and looking after your choices and decisions that's made in life, um, you will never it will never go 90% of the time. It will never go the way that you want it to go. 90% of the time it's going to go in the best way that's fit for you, best way for the situation, and not even fit for you. It's the best way. It's going to go the best way that your higher power can see, because at the end of the day, he's the only one who can see the future. You can always see what's to come next. You can never see what's to come next. You may can have an idea, you may can kind of even feel or sense what potentially could happen depending on what situation and the scenario of the situation. You might can see what's likely, what entities are involved in that situation. You might can kind of see that. You know what I'm saying? But to actually 100% know, like 100% to know, no, you will never know. You know what I'm saying? So, it comes out in a way that best for that scenario. So hopefully you won't have to go through that again. And oftentimes when we find ourselves facing certain things, it's because we repeated something. We didn't learn something. We didn't catch something. Or we didn't catch. We caught something. We paid attention to something, but it wasn't the key factor. It wasn't the main point necessary was needed to catch. It may have been a small piece or a half a piece, but it wasn't the whole thing in a nutshell. So, you then end up finding yourself dealing with that situation again. You're like, damn, how did I get this situation again? And that's because you didn't get the whole lesson. Somewhere down the line you got part of the lesson and you was like, that's it. Not really gotten the whole thing. And courage, when you facing your own fears, the biggest thing you got to think about is, well, at least for me, is I like to think, anything that I went through, any downfall, any hardship I ever went through, the only thing I thought about was, I'll never know how this going to turn out if I was to stop right now. Like, I never know how anything would turn out if I would have stopped, whatever crisis I was going through, whatever hardship I was going through. If I would have stopped right there and say, hey, you know what, I give up, I can't do this, it's too much, I would have never got to see what's the outcome. I would have never got the chance to see that. You know what I'm saying? And thus I still would have been dealing with that same situation and being stuck in place dealing with any situation. Life doesn't slow down, keeps going. It's not going to stop for you. So that means I miss out on so much of life because I chose to let whatever situation that I'm going through be. And it doesn't work well like that. And I can understand fear. I can understand the thought of trying something and fail, trying to do something and put your all into it and it doesn't pan out, it doesn't work well, the goal doesn't achieve. But that's like anything in life. Think about it. Since a kid, you've been working with fear since the very beginning of time. When you learned how the walk, you had stages to it. You know what I'm saying? You, as a baby, you had stages on tour, learning how to simple thing as in learning how to roll over as a baby. was fear of learning not to. Whether you was conscious of it or not, it was in your head. And if you think about it as a baby, the most fear, there is no fear as a baby, because they don't have the consciousness of, what is fear. So when you're a baby, you can roll over or whatnot, and your parents, be surprised. Oh my God, he's such and such, she's or her such and such month, and they rolling over ahead of schedule, ahead of time. They doing things ahead of time, and this is all. There's no fear to stop you from achieving this. You don't even know what fear is. You know what I'm saying? You just know there's something that you want to do, and you just do it. And you keep constantly doing it. Somewhere down the line, once you become conscious of what fear is and what is failure is, more so, you create the fear within yourself. Once you create that fear within yourself, then that is when you stop yourself from achieving things or stop yourself from doing things. You create the fear within yourself. And it's only because you come of conscious of failure. You seen what failure is. And failure is different to everybody. Some people, it's failure when you have a plan and it doesn't go according, and that's failure to some people. You got failure to some people is when you stop. You go with your plan, you hit a speed bump or an obstacle to kind of slow you down, or you get a minor setback, and that's not fear for someone else. For some people, that is exactly what I mean. And some people believe, those are just obstacles to see if you really want it. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you are built mentally, and where you at mentally, and how you view things. All of this comes into your own opinion. So all of this stuff becomes to light to a certain way because of you being opinionated with your perspective and what's happening around you, and what you're dealing with, and it comes also, to entities that you have around you as well too. So I say, try to get back to having that fear of, like you were when you were a baby, of not, there is no fear. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. If you stop, whenever you feel fear, think about it. What's the worst thing happen if you stop? Not if you keep going, if you stop. If you stop whatever you trying to do, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you trying to do to set yourself up better in life, if you stop that, think about what happens when you do. And then think about what if you keep going. You know what I'm saying? Look at it like, dang, like what if I keep going? And because you don't know what's going to happen. That's just like your navigation system, right? You say you put in a destination somewhere. Say your destination 15 miles. It don't matter where your destination is. You don't know from the way you're going, it look like all the roads is clear. It look like all roads to where you're headed to is clear. You don't know that traffic slows down 15 miles up ahead. You don't know if once you turn this corner 3 miles down the road, it's some bullshit coming. You don't know none of that. But all you know was right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? That's all you know was right in front of you. You don't know anything else. And with that being said, that's why I think a lot of people let fear stop them from doing the things that they want to do. You're never going to know what was right, wrong, or what you did right in any situation without some type of failure. Everything that you done did in life, you have never got it right the first time. I promise you. It's life. You ain't never gonna get it right. Life not designed for you to get things right on the first go around. That's why it's 24 hours. That's why it's a new day. That's why the saying is, it's a new day. What happened yesterday isn't today. I mean, it depends on a lot of, like you say, what your perspective up here. It depends on you. It depends up here and up here. And I don't mean hard, I mean the will. You know what I'm saying? The will to see something difficult and say, you know what? I'm gonna tackle this regardless. Where it may comes out, how it may comes out, I'm gonna go at this head on. And take some things that you learned from it. You know what I'm saying? So, and confidence, I said confidence, courage come when you have nothing else. The courage come when you have nothing else to do but to do this. Sometimes your life will go a certain way and you be like, oh, I wasn't supposed to. Wasn't it? Because you ever find yourself in a situation where you like, oh, life ain't supposed to happen this way, or it wasn't supposed to go this way, and you can't see. If you think back on whatever that issue was, and once you overcome it, you think back on that issue was the come. Without that, you wouldn't have got there. Like, you wouldn't have got there. What could you sing to get you there without this bad outcome happening? And people think some bad things happening that it's a bad thing. Sometimes bad things don't happen to you, it happened for you. And you talking to a person, mind you, talking to a person that is facing bad situation right now. Like right now. Like right fucking now. Like I am facing some real bad situation, and I'm saying all this to you. And I can only say this, excuse the noise in my background, but I can only say this to you because of what I have overcome. You know what I'm saying? This ain't based upon what I'm going through now. There'll be other stuff I could tell you later on down the line once I overcome with whatever I'm dealing with, whatever challenge I'm dealing with. But I can tell you this from based over things that I thought that I would never get past. I have made it past. Things I thought I would have never get a chance to not. And I'm playing all this shit. Get a chance to not experience or deal with anymore, or have to constantly keep dealing or battling with. I have overcome those things. So I can tell you, like, it's a lot. But it's also based upon you, how bad you want it. How bad you really want to rise up past and move to the next level. Bad things come a lot of times because you ask. You ask for something better. If you ask God for something better, I'm quite sure it's going to be some bad shit come your way. And it's not because you ask God for something, or your higher, scratch that, your higher power, you ask for something. But when you want things, certain things, some things have to change in order to obtain some things. Some things gotta fall. Some things gotta rise. Some things gotta get left behind. Some things gotta get moved out the way. Some things you gotta go over. Some things you gotta get under. Some things you gotta get around. But nonetheless, whatever it is, your view will never be the same. Your view of where you're trying to go and where you at now won't never be the same. So don't to anyone who's looking at this and think, and you, it's some things you want to do, and you know that you feel like you're capable of doing and achieving, you know, first thing is do your homework, do as much homework as you can possibly, and don't let fear stop you. Don't let failure of you thinking like, oh, I'm a fail, or what if you do fail, then that means I'm a failure. No, that just means a mistake was made. Some information probably was missed, or wasn't conducted the right way, or wasn't utilized the right way. Something went wrong. So, you know, you would get the lesson of whatever you did. Kind of, when it goes wrong, kind of take your time. Not right then and there. Take your time. Get up, breathe for a little bit. You know, inhale and sit with a open mind, and an open mind with an open perspective, and understand where it went wrong. Once you can understand and identify what may contribute to the actions of things going wrong, whether it's other individuals, moves that you made, or whatever the issue was that stirred things left instead of straight, or right instead of straight. Understand what those were, and understand why those had to happen. And then once you understand those, you move forward again. Pick yourself back up and go back on that road. And make sure that when you moving, you keep a lookout for those very same things, because they're going to pop up again. Trust me, they're going to pop up again to see if you got it. Life is the biggest test ever. Life is the ultimate test. Life ain't a game, but it feel like one, because it'll test you like one. You know what I'm saying? So have the courage. It's going to take courage to understand that. And I would say another thing would be prayer. You're going to have a lot of prayer. You're going to need a lot of your higher power on your side. You know what I'm saying? So don't give yourself, surrender to your higher power. Let that be your backbone, and just move forward. You know, that'll be it. But yeah, that's all I got for today. That's fear and courage. They go hand in hand, whether you like it or not. Fear and courage go hand to hand. And this has been Talk Your Shit Podcast. I'm the host, E. This is one of the coldest podcasts, the realest. Coldest podcast. We ain't doing this for likes. Till next time, people. Thanks for tuning in. I wish you all well.